Audio check, testing the audio. See, we have people on YouTube and Facebook, so if you could give us a little feedback, let us know how the audio is for you. Just doing an audio check, testing the audio. Audio check. I'm going to get started here right at the top of the hour, about 5 minutes out till start time. Sounds like our tech team is thinking that our notifications were delayed slightly technologically, so don't expect to necessarily start late, but we may give it a couple of extra minutes for the start time. But otherwise, if we see an influx, we'll probably get going right at 7 o'clock. Got about 5 minutes if you would like to get coffee, tea, water, whatever your beverage of choice may be. Okay, Facebook says the audio is good. How about YouTube? Anybody on YouTube there? I see you there, but just looking for confirmation that for those of you on YouTube, the audio is good. Thank you, Ida. I'm going to go get a little bit of tea and water, so please do so as well if you would like. Well, we give people a chance to join in, Rob, so they can get settled in, make sure they're in the right spot. Sort of like how you would think about if it were a live event, we might open the doors, 20, 30 minutes early. Give people a chance to come in, settle in, get their seat, run to the restroom, get a glass of water. And we used to do these at different venues like community centers, libraries, that sort of thing. Sometimes there's vending machines. People want to run out and get a beverage of their choice. So that's why, Rob. Because we launched the video 11 minutes ago. The stream, I guess you could say. The stream we launched 11 minutes ago. We didn't do like they do for political events where they launch it like an hour ahead of time. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that, where you go and you want to watch a president's speech, or you want to see some kind of political a rally or something, and then they start the video like an hour before anyone even shows up, it seems like. And so you have to like find the spot in the video. You have to fast forward in to even find where it starts. So anyway, not quite that bad. Thank you, Barbara. Nice to see you from Virginia. If I'm responding to comments and you're not seeing them, it's because it's on the other option. So YouTube and Facebook, we have viewers in both spots. So if I'm referencing something that you don't see, that's why. Sharon from Kentucky. All right. Have a lot of family from Kentucky, Owensboro area, Cynthiana area, Louisville. I am not, I wouldn't say I'm not a Louisville for basketball fan, but I definitely go for Kentucky. But I inherited that one, even though I'm in Michigan. I'm in Michigan, up in just north of Detroit, about 20, 30 minutes, city of Troy, Michigan. I grew up on the west side of the state, so naturally, given the fact that I like basketball, right after Kentucky is Michigan State for me. So, Lula Grant from North Carolina. Okay, we won't hold that against you if you're a Carolina fan. Doesn't matter if you're from Kentucky or Michigan, North Carolina. We don't get behind that. Great year last year for that team, though. Great. Looks like our audio is doing good. We do want to give maybe a couple minutes leeway. My tech team has informed me that text notifications did seem to go out a little bit slower than normal. Chris Steele from Jackson, Michigan. Okay. Oh, Lula Grant. I don't know if that's better, Lula. Lula's a Buckeye fan. Atlanta, Nebraska. Oh, okay. All right. Nebraska. Lived there 6 years. Didn't care much about football, but you don't have a choice if you live in Nebraska. So I don't mind rooting for the Huskers, although they haven't done well in a while. Pennsylvania. Jackson, Michigan. I cannot see Jackson, Michigan without thinking about soccer. When I was a kid, we played a soccer tournament in Jackson, and it was the most fun soccer tournament that I've ever played in. And it was a lot of fun for two reasons. One, it was a big challenge. It was a lot of fun. and the second reason is we won. So always fun to win. Romulus, Michigan. Okay. Airport. Austin, Texas. We won't hold that against you. Just kidding. Everybody's moving to Austin. Were you there before they all came, Rob? In Nebraska. Well, so my wife went to graduate school at the University of Nebraska and got her master's degree there. And then we lived in Eagle, Nebraska. That's where we bought our first house, was in Eagle, Nebraska, which is about 20 minutes outside of Lincoln to the east, headed sort of ish towards Omaha. But I worked both jobs in Omaha and Nebraska. Rob's not a fan of all the newcomers. All right, fair enough. Billings, Montana. Okay, great. PJ, this event is offered during standard Oregon work hours because most of our team is in Eastern Standard Time. So if you can attend an event during normal Eastern Standard Time, it's a little late for me actually. This is the only day of the week that I work late. I have 3 small children and a beautiful and wonderful wife. And I happen to live out in the country, so it's a fair bit of drive for me after I leave here tonight. So it's a late night for me. So I know it's early for you, but it's a late night for me. So sorry for that. But I will say that the fact that you're able to attend means that if you do in fact take advantage of some of our other offers, which we'll talk about, it may be possible for you to feel comfortable taking advantage of that. Okay, we're going to give it just a couple of more minutes, okay? So hang tight. I do see people actively joining in right now, so I do want to give people a chance. We had a little bit of technology delay in getting the text messages out, so those text messages are all out. People are getting their notifications. I see people actively joining in right now, both on YouTube and Facebook, and so I think we're going to get going here in just a couple of minutes. Excuse me. Yes, Doreen, I'm aware. I'm aware it's 7 o'clock. Sorry. If you want closed captioning on, you just turn it on YouTube. Your YouTube, I believe, should have an option for closed captioning. If it doesn't, that's a good note. Tech team, make sure that we give that ability to folks to turn it on if they so choose in the future for real-time closed captioning. As long as it doesn't misinterpret a word and make it a naughty word, it's probably close enough to be good. Okay, there will be no foul language tonight. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. My name's Kyle McCauley. I'm one of the national presenters here at Einstein Retirement Workshops. And you are at Einstein Retirement Workshops' most popular presentation, our Social Security Filing Strategies Workshop. This workshop has been attended by more than 100,000 people over the last couple of years, and so it is something that we're very honored to continue to provide as a value to folks, and we're honored that you're here. We know you get a lot out of today's presentation. Our agenda for our time together, we will spend just over an hour on the topic of Social Security. And we will, at the end of that hour, make sure that we cover what it takes to get this Social Security filing workbook. I do know that many of you are here in some part because you want to make sure that you get a copy of that workbook. It is a physical copy. We will mail it to you, and so we'll invite you to take advantage of that. And again, that will be right at the end of the presentation that I'll talk about how you can request that workbook. Also, at the end of our presentation, we will have a Q&A portion of our time. We invite you to stay for as long as as you can, and I'll answer questions as long as I can, or until I'm getting home too late for my wife to be happy with me. So I'll answer as many questions as possible at the end of the presentation. Okay. Again, my name is Kyle McCauley, and I do want to give you a little bit of my background just so you have a good understanding as to what my perspective is when I do this presentation. When I do this presentation, I have in the back of my mind situations, scenarios, real client, real world examples of different things that people have dealt with when they're filing and making decisions about Social Security. I'm the managing partner of City Center Financial, which is a retirement planning firm. So when we are helping folks make good, high quality Social Security decisions, we're doing that within the context of making good, high quality retirement planning decisions. I'm also a chartered retirement planning counselor, an accredited portfolio management advisor, and also, as is every member of our team, because you cannot accidentally become an expert in Social Security, a National Social Security Advisor certified professional. Taking advice about your Social Security benefits from someone who is not a National Social Security Advisor certified professional could be a bit of a mistake, potentially, because Social Security law is more than 2,600 pages. I mean, let's be honest, you can't just accidentally become an expert in this stuff. So it does require serious training. This is the only accredited certification in Social Security, and every member of our team here at Einstein Retirement Workshops does have that certification. It is a requirement. We are in no way employed by, nor are we affiliated with the Social Security Administration. The purpose of our presentation today is not to sign you up for benefits, it's to lend you our experience and expertise in terms of things that you should be thinking about and that you should be cognizant of as you're making this Social Security filing decision. We're able to provide this advice to you because of our investment advisory firm, City Center Advisors. Why is Social Security such a hot topic? Why have we had more than 100,000 people attend our workshop over the last couple of years? Why are all of you here? Why is it that we'll do this workshop next week? And another group of you will be here, probably roughly around the same size. Well, every single day, more than 10,000 folks are turning 65. That's qualifying for Medicare, and also gets people often thinking very seriously about retiring and then filing for Social Security. 3.64 million new folks are going to be turning 65 every year for the next 11 years. That's been going on for 10 years yet. So it's very natural for folks to be considering, hey, wait a second, this is a lot of people who are retiring and now filing for benefits who used to be working and paying dollars into the system. So now they're not paying in, they're only drawing out. That seems like a lot of money. Is this thing going to last? Will there be something there for me? So issues of insolvency naturally come to the forefront. But what does Social Security mean to you? Well, 65% of retired middle-income Americans derive more than half of their retirement income from their Social Security benefits. Obviously, this is true for folks who maybe, haven't done a good job of saving other sources of retirement income. Accumulating rental properties, having pension dollars, putting dollars into 401ks or IRA types of accounts, saving into brokerage accounts and buying stocks or bonds or mutual funds or whatever it is. Okay, if you haven't done a good job with that, obviously Social Security is going to make up the majority, if not all, of your retirement income. But even for those who have done a good job of saving other types of assets, it is still true that Social Security covers, for the majority of you, more than 50% of your total retirement income. The reason for that is twofold. Number one, benefits are actually still here. I know many of you, I've done this enough live that if I ask for a show of hands, how many of you have heard in your lifetime, don't plan on Social Security? I am certain that we would see the majority, if not all of you, raise your hand. Also, the benefits are here, but also the benefits are actually pretty good. It is not uncommon for us to see, for example, a married couple, between the two of you, to be collecting $60,000, $70,000, sometimes as much as $80,000 a year or more in combined Social Security benefits. So not only are the benefits here, but in many cases, they can be quite good. Social Security has been elevated in terms of its importance because we have seen consistently pensions being eliminated, frozen. We've seen pension benefits cut after they were started, unfortunately. We have seen pension benefits totally eliminated and converted to completely different types of plans. So pensions going away, another source of retirement income, has has caused Social Security to become elevated in terms of its importance for today's retiree. 46% of Americans today pass away with less than $10,000 to their name. This statistic is not here to frighten you, but it does emphasize one of the key important features about your Social Security benefits. If you were to ask yourself, do you insure the important financial things in your life? The answer is yes. Yes, it is. Okay. Do you insure your home? Right, of course. How about your car? Absolutely. Do you insure your health? You bet. Do you insure your retirement? The answer for the majority of you is yes. When you frame in your Social Security benefits, you think, okay, what do these benefits mean to me over my lifetime? How do they fit into my retirement plan? The best way for you to think about these benefits is as retirement income insurance. Or you could say longevity insurance. Even that person passing away with less than $10,000 to their name, so long as they had a Social Security benefit and they're still living, they're going to receive those benefits no matter how long they live. I don't know how long you will live, but people are living a long time these days. My grandparents, well, my granddaddy lived exactly to this life expectancy we're going to talk about. My granny, she's still going, she's 94, but a married couple at age 65 has life expectancy, gentlemen, of 92, ladies, life expectancy of 97. As you age, life expectancy goes up. Now, my granddaddy is a good example of how it could be easy to make the mistake of not planning appropriately for how long potentially you could live. My granddaddy had 4 heart attacks and 3 bypass surgeries by the time he was 75. If you had asked him, hey, granddaddy, you think, maybe he's 80 years old, think you'll make it to 90? He has smiled and said, I don't think so. But the reality is, my granny kicked his butt and he did well. Okay, so live to age 92. Granny's still going. How long could you live? Okay, sometimes that's the most important question. Not how long do you think you'll live, but how long could you live? I don't know if you can live as long as this lovely lady, Ms. Lucille Randon, also known as Sister Andre. Currently the oldest living person in the world. She is 118 years of age, and she currently lives in the south of France. So as the picture does indicate, she is a nun and the oldest living person. So really the key takeaway message here from Sister Andre is that if you want to live a good long life, get good with God. Okay. All right. Our focus for today. We're going to talk about some basics about your benefits. We'll talk about strategies for those of you who are married, options for those of you who are divorced, Options, certainly for those of you who are widowed or widowers. And then if you do fall asleep somewhere in the middle, please do wake up in time for taxes. I can tell you, our organization has now helped thousands of folks make high quality Social Security filing decisions. And what I can tell you is that if there are two strategies that, they kind of look equal in terms of how they work out for you over the long haul, and one strategy, it's like, well, that one's pretty good. Here's some pros and cons. And another one's, well, here's the pros and cons here. But we apply the issue of taxes to both of them. Sometimes it causes one of them to say, hey, no, we can't do it that way. We got to go this way. So I do want to make sure you have a good understanding of how taxes plays in, and we'll try to make sure we have enough time to really cover that well. Basics about how your benefits work, how they're calculated. In order to qualify for a Social Security benefit, you need 40 credits. A credit is earned by having substantial earnings in a calendar quarter. Not that substantial, $1,510 will earn you a credit. You can earn up to 4 credits per year, and so you may have heard it said that it's 10 years of work to qualify you for a benefit, and effectively the math works out like that. Once you have qualified for a benefit, you have all 40 credits. The way that your benefit is calculated is by using the highest 35 years of your work history after those years have been indexed for inflation. A couple of things about that. It is immaterial what the last 35 years were like. Well, in so much as that's not the issue. The issue is the highest 35 years, no matter when they occurred. So you could have worked 10 years, taken 5 years off, had another 25, no problem. You hit your 35 years. If you are still working and your income that you're earning today is not replacing a lower income year in the past, after those years have been indexed for inflation, your work today is not increasing your Social Security benefit. So don't mistakenly assume that just because you're continuing to work, you are necessarily increasing your benefit for the future. You probably are, or maybe you are, but it's not a guarantee. Okay, if you're working, say, part-time, earning $40,000 a year, and you earned $20,000 a year, for example, in 1980, and that's the lowest in the past. Well, $20,000, and you would see this. Okay, we're going to mail you your Social Security filing workbook. Again, we'll talk about how to get that at the end. But in that Social Security filing workbook, you will see an indexing table in that workbook. Inside of that indexing table, there is a place for you to write in all of the income numbers that you've had over all the years that you've worked. So on your Social Security statement, it's on page 3. You would see an earnings history table. That earnings history table, you could take those numbers, put it on the indexing table in your workbook to see what those dollars are worth for your benefit calculation. If, excuse me, if you earned $20,000 in 1980, what you would see is that you'd write that on that line and then you'd multiply it by 4 and change, meaning $20,000 earned in 1980 is worth more than $80,000 in today's dollars. So if, say, you're working part-time and you're just making $30,000 a year, well, that wouldn't replace that. So your work today is not hurting you. It's not going to decrease your benefit. It's just not going to increase it. Now, what happens in the scenario where you do not have all 35 years? Let's say you only have 25 years. Well, in that scenario, Social Security will take your 25 years, index them for inflation, but then they're going to add in 10 zeros when they do your benefit calculation. So, essentially, any additional work that you do today is going to be replacing a zero and should have a pretty good size impact in terms of increasing your benefit for the future. There are a few things that can reduce your Social Security benefit, and they all fall under the same basic rules. The 2 rules that can reduce your Social Security are the government pension offset and the windfall elimination provision. The government pension offset applies when you have a pension that you earned while you were not paying taxes into the Social Security system. When you receive that pension, if you do not have your own Social Security, maybe you're trying to file for a spousal, you have to follow the government pension offset rules. And that rule means that you will take 2/3 of your pension and it counts against any Social Security benefits that you would receive from a spouse or an ex-spousal benefit. If 2/3 of your pension is more than what you are entitled from those benefits, then you'll just simply get nothing. The windfall elimination provision is a little more complicated. It cannot reduce your Social Security to zero, but it applies in the scenario where you have that non-covered pension. Again, that's a pension that you earned while you were not paying taxes into the Social Security system. You file and claim that pension, and then simultaneously you file your own Social Security that you earned with the 40 credits. Now, depending on the number of years of substantial earnings you have, will determine how much that pension will reduce your Social Security, okay? But the key is it can't reduce it to zero, and in your workbook, all these calculations are in there. The retired, now I forgot the name of it, the OAS-ID. Why can't I remember what that stands for? Anyway, you paid a lot of taxes into Social Security. Let's just deal with FICA taxes. That's the easy one to remember. FICA taxes. FICA taxes are what you've been paying over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years you've been working. The amount of your pay that has been going to Social Security is specifically 6.2%. Your employer put their 6.2% for a total of 12.4% of your pay, again, over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years you've been working. Probably preaching to the choir because you're here, but do planning to maximize what you get out of this system. These benefits you have paid for. This is an entitlement program in its purest sense. You are absolutely 100% entitled to these benefits. You've paid for them, and you should get what you can out of it. Now, the way the system works is not as though your 12.4% is somehow belonging to you. The way the system works is that dollars flowing into Social Security are flowing out right now to pay current recipients. This is called pay as you go. We've been on a pay-as-we-go plan since 2010, but this is not the first time that we've been operating in the red. Back in 1983 was the first year that we operated in the red. That was also when taxes were added to Social Security benefits, courtesy of President Reagan. And if you're feeling defensive Republicans, courtesy of President Clinton, they were increased in 1993. So we can all be angry together. All right, we are fully funded currently on our current plan with taxes flowing in, and the Social Security Trust Fund does own Treasury bills right now that they're actively selling to pay out benefits, and we're fully funded through the year 2037. In 2038, we are only funded roughly 75 cents on the dollar thereafter, and that's a problem, okay? This is not the first time we've been slated for something like this, though, so I would not panic. You should not expect in 2038 to see your Social Security benefits cut by 25% to compensate for this. No, what they will do is they will fix it actuarially. Probably wait a few years till doomsday before they fix it, but in any case, there'll be a fix. Many of you, if you think about it, should know essentially what kind of fixes are most likely because all of you have been a part of a prior fix. All of your parents had a full retirement age of 65. The oldest of you have a full retirement age, not of 65, but of 66. Okay, so they didn't go in and cut your benefit, but they did by forcing you to wait a year compared to your parents. Now, there is another group of you who are at 66 and some number of months, right? So 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. So depending on your year of birth, many of you are in that group. And then the youngest of you have a full retirement age of 67. That process of going from 65 to 66, from 66 graded up to 67, was a fix to the Social Security system. So what will they do to your kids and grandkids? Probably push that even higher. There's talks of pushing full retirement age to 70. There's talks of eliminating the age 62 filing provision and pushing it to 65. But this is not going to affect you unless you happen to be watching and are younger than the age of 55. Once you reach the age of 55, current federal law says that they may not change the benefits that you're expecting to receive. I know that many of you do have that full retirement age of 66 and some number of months, but just for ease of explanation, we're going to assume for a minute that everyone has a full retirement age of 66. If you file for your benefit at your full retirement age, you are entitled to receive 100% of what is known as your primary insurance amount, PIA. Your primary insurance amount is estimated for you on the very front page of your Social Security statement, that big bold number in the upper right corner. That is your estimated primary insurance amount. If that number says $2,000 and you file at full retirement age, you should receive $2,000. If you would like to file earlier than your full retirement age, you are allowed to do so. You can file as early as the age of 62, but it will be a reduced amount. The amount it'll be reduced by is 25%, and so that $2,000 would become $1,500. Every single month that you delay after reaching age 62 gives you a little bit of increase year over year at a rate of about 5 to 6%, depending on the year, until you hit your full retirement age. Once you reach your full retirement age, you can also keep delaying taking your Social Security, and you will keep being rewarded. You will be rewarded at a rate of 0.8% for every month you delay. Another way to say it is, you can earn 8% per year guaranteed increase on your Social Security benefit, simple interest, not compound, as a delayed retirement credit, which would mean that you would turn a $2,000 check into as much as $2,640 or 132%. There are actually 3 distinct benefits you can file for. The first one is a retired worker's benefit. This is a benefit that you are entitled to based upon your own work history. The spousal benefit or ex-spousal benefit is a benefit you're entitled to based upon a spouse's work history. And a widow or survivor benefit is a benefit you're entitled to based upon a deceased spouse's work history. Also true for ex-widow benefit. The last time Social Security law was changed was in October of 2015. Essentially, this change took away all the fun stuff. No more file and suspend, get a lump sum check, none of that stuff, okay? The only exception is a rapidly diminishing group. It is a group that there's not many of you left. So if you're in this group, you are becoming a smaller and smaller percentage. I'm going to cover this briefly. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but if there's somebody that has questions at the end, we'll come back to it. January 2nd of 1954, your birthday. In order to have any kind of special filing privileges with Social Security, your birthday has to be before January 2nd of 1954. And you may not have already filed for any Social Security benefits. And you have to have available to you a spousal or an ex-spousal benefit. Okay, if all of those things are true, then you have access to a restricted application, and it's worth considering that option. Okay, now for that group and for everyone else, there's really just a couple of things to remember about filing strategies. Number one, If you file for Social Security benefits and at some point in the future you don't need those dollars, is it ever worth suspending your benefits, using the suspension privilege? Well, maybe. If you're younger than 70 and you suspend your benefits, you will earn those delayed retirement credits that you're entitled to from the point at which you suspend until you file again in the future. What if you want to do that within the first 365 days from when you filed? Well, you gain access to a very special provision, and that special provision allows you to do what's called a rescinding of your application. Rescinding your Social Security application means that you will reset your benefits as though you never filed. Now, the reason that may come into play is you file for benefits and realize, ooh, I'm the survivor, maybe there's others. But the point is you just go, I really should have delayed and maximized my Social Security to some extent. If you're within the first year of filing, you can suspend your application, rescind it, and the only thing they'll ask of you is that you pay them back any dollars they've given you thus far. So, the one hurdle to be aware of that's really important is if you've already filed a tax return based upon dollars received from Social Security, just be cognizant of that if you do decide to go down the path of rescinding, that you may be dealing with an amended return. Okay, considerations for those of you who are married. In order to qualify for a spousal benefit, you need to have been married for at least 1 year. In addition to that, the primary worker must have filed for their benefits. Also, you may not qualify for a benefit of your own that is equal to or greater than half of the benefit that they are entitled at their full retirement age. Okay, it's kind of a mouthful, but let me break it down. If John has a primary insurance amount of $2,000, Jane is eligible for as much as half of that at her full retirement age. So it's 50% of your spouse's primary insurance amount, not their benefit amount. So for example, if John delays, he would be getting more than $2,000, but Jane is never eligible for more than $1,000. It's 50% of your spouse's primary insurance amount is the maximum spousal benefit. Okay, this is also true for those of you who are divorced, so just bear that in mind. Also, spousal benefits are eligible for filing early. You can file as early as the age of 62, just like on benefits of your own. However, if Jane has that $1,000 a month benefit and she files at 62 and it's her own, she gets $750. But what if it's not her own? What if it's a spousal she's filing for at 62? It's only $700. So spousal benefits reduce at a faster rate than your own. So if you want to think about it like extra penalties for spouses who file early, maybe that's a fair way to say it. Also, what I said a minute ago, Jane can never get more than $1,000 if her spousal benefit is the one that's the highest. Now, if Jane has her own benefit of $1,000 and she delays till 70, she could get $1,320. But if Jane does not have her own and it's just a spousal for $1,000, she can never get any increases for delaying. The maximum she would get is $1,000. So what happens if John wants to delay till 70 and they are the same age? He wants to turn $2,000 into $2,640. Well, Jane doesn't want to delay, but if that's all she has to, and she's still only going to get $1,000. But what if Jane has her own benefit of $500? What should she do then? Well, she should file for her own benefit of $500 a month beginning at her full retirement age. And then when John turns his benefit on later, she'll get the bump up from $500 to the full $1,000. Survivor benefits. Married couples. When one of you passes away, there is only one Social Security benefit that will remain, and it is always the highest of the two. It doesn't matter whose benefit is the highest of the two. The one that remains is always the highest of the two. So if I have a $1,000 benefit, my wife has $2,000. I pass away. I take my $1,000 with me. She keeps her $2,000 a month. What if she passes away? I say goodbye to my $1,000 and I keep her $2,000. Only one benefit remains. It's always the highest of the two. The only caveat to this in terms of survivor benefits is if the higher wage earner files early and is getting less than 82.5% of their primary insurance amount. So let's say my wife filed at 62. She has $2,000 a month. She files at 62. She is getting $1,500, 75%. She predeceases me. My benefit would not be $1,500. It would be $1,650, 82.5% of her primary insurance amount. That's the only way to get a little bump up. Okay, two most common mistakes we see married couples make. The first one has to do with that survivor's benefit. Again, remember, only one benefit remains. It's always the highest of the two. So, married couples, when you're considering how should we file for these Social Security benefits, it is extremely important to think about, well, I have the higher benefit, so what does that mean for me? Probably means that I should consider delaying taking my benefit to some extent so that it is maximized to some extent so that if I were to happen to die early, I don't leave my surviving spouse with a very small benefit. Instead, I leave them with a nice cushion and a larger benefit, okay? So the survivor benefit is the only one that remains. So let's say, God forbid, I pass at 75 and then my wife lives to 95 and we're the same age. That's 20 years of one Social Security check because hers is gone, so she's keeping mine. So maximizing that to some extent provides an insulation component for that surviving spouse who now is down to one Social Security check. Now, I can also say, having run thousands of analyses, that with a high degree of confidence, that having both of you delay past full retirement age is probably not the right plan. Generally speaking, for married couples, one of you is going to file early to some degree or another. One of you is going to delay, again, to some degree or another. Let's talk about divorced spouse benefits. In order to qualify for a divorced spouse benefit, you do need to have been married for 10 years in a row to the same person. Married 5 years, divorced, remarried, even to the same person, 7 years, divorced. 5 plus 7 does not equal 12. I know none of you came on here for marriage counseling, but if you need a reason to hang on, it's got to be 10 years, okay? So one of those two stints, the first round or the second round, has to go at least 10 years in order for those divorced spouse benefits to be retained. Secondly, if you have remarried, let's say you had a marriage that lasted more than 10 years and you're thinking, well, maybe I'd like to file on their benefit, but you've remarried. No, okay? No divorced spouse benefits, just put it out of your mind. Love your new spouse, okay? You're just dealing with your own Social Security or your new spousal, okay? Same benefit amounts and reductions apply for ex-spousal benefits in the same way that they applied for spousal benefits. The one major difference between divorced spouse benefits and spousal benefits is the independently entitled provision. If you are a person who had a marriage that lasted more than 10 years, and you're thinking that maybe it's going to work out for you to file that divorced spouse benefit, you are entitled to do that regardless of whether they have filed their benefit or not, so long as you've been divorced for at least 2 years. Okay? You have to have been divorced for 2 years because they don't want people getting divorced just to collect Social Security. Okay, if you happen to be born before January 2nd of 1954, and you've not yet filed for a Social Security benefit, and you are entitled to a divorced spouse benefit, the restricted application could be particularly helpful to you. And again, very rapidly diminishing group in terms of the numbers of people who could qualify for this, so I cover it quickly for that reason. All right. One goofy thing about Social Security for divorcees is that if you had a marriage that lasted more than 10 years and that spouse is younger than you, and let's say you hit 62 and start your own Social Security, and a couple of years go by and then they hit 62 and their spousal amount would be more than what you're getting on your own work history, you're allowed to switch. And as many 10-year marriages like that as you can conjure up, you can switch again and again. Okay, common questions we hear from those who are divorced. I'm divorced. My ex will file off of me. Will that affect me somehow? No, it will not. I'm divorced. My ex is going to file off of me. I've remarried. They're going to file off of me as well. Will their benefits affect each other? No, they will not. I'm divorced and I've managed to fit a few 10-year marriages into my lifetime. And I've remarried, and I'm going to die young. No, just kidding. Too much stress. All right, so no, if they all qualify, meaning their own Social Security is less, they can all file for your divorced spouse benefit. Your new spouse could file. It's all allowed. It's totally acceptable. If you do pass away before them, yes, in fact, they can all get widow benefits as well. That is how it works. Okay, last one. I'm divorced and I'm going to be filing off of my ex. Is that somehow going to affect things? Will they know that I've done that? No. No, they will not. The only way they would know that you filed off of their work history is if you tell them. All right, considerations for those of you who are widowed. Widows are a special group because they are the only group that can file as early as the age of 60. They also have a few filing provisions that no one else has. Now, in order to file for widow benefits at 60, assuming, of course, that you're widowed prior to reaching the age of 60, you do have to remain unmarried until you turn the age of 60. Now, one of the very first workshops that I ever did, we got to the end, to the Q&A, and a lady in the back raised her hand and said, hey, based on what you were saying earlier, it sounds like I should delay the wedding. Yeah, well, unfortunately, it was, well, I sort of feel good for her, and you'll find out in a minute, but also feel a little bad. But yes, it was a big deal to her. Okay, so this happened to be a June workshop, and at this June workshop, she was 59 years of age. The wedding was slated for September, and she did not turn 60 until March of the following year. If she remarried in September, she would no longer have access to the widow benefits because she was still 59. Her widow benefit at 60 looked like it was going to be just under $2,000 a month. Nice widow benefit. Now, if she remarried at 59, she can't file for anything at 60, okay? Because her own benefit, which was some fairly small amount, and the new spousal benefit are available at 62. Only the widow benefit's available at 60. So she can't file anything for 2 additional years. And her new spousal, being the higher of the two, was worth just under $1,500 a month. So she has to wait 2 years to get $500 a month less. So yes, we did say, might want to delay the wedding. Now, I think this is funny. You can decide how you feel about it. I'm a religious person, so she did go to her priest and said, can we, just do the religious part of things and sign stuff later? And apparently her priest said, no. I said, there's got to be another priest. Somebody will do this for you. But she was very devout. The wedding was delayed. All right. You do have to be married a minimum of 9 months prior to the death of your spouse in order for widow benefits to be available. This is not here to hurt people, though. This provision is specifically here to prevent deathbed marriages. Only real-life example I've run into with this, and all the time I've been doing it, Lady was married later in life. Her husband was in the armed forces. He was shipped overseas and killed in action, and they had been married right around 6 months. So she thought, didn't hit the 9 months, it's not available, but it wasn't as though he had a terminal illness or some known reason why he would be passing. So he just had to submit proper documentation, and the widow benefits were reopened. Okay, another widow case study that highlights the availability of multiple extra options for those of you who are widowed. John never elected and died at the age of 64. His benefit at his full retirement age would have been $2,150. Jane is 5 years younger. She was 59 when John died, and she did remain unmarried until the age of 60. We met Jane at a workshop when she was trying to figure out, should I file for these widow benefits? I'm not sure what I should do. Jane does have her own work history. Her benefit at 62, $1,197. What are Jane's options? Well, one option would be that she could just file for widow benefits, start collecting $1,537. If she collects $1,537 from the age of 60, all the way until she passes at age 85, she would receive, not including inflation, $461,100. Not too bad. Now, the real Jane wasn't ready to retire yet. She, John passed recently. She didn't want to make any big life changes. So her earnings, and we'll talk about the earnings test in a minute, prevented her really from reasonably filing for widow benefits just yet. But she's going to retire in a couple years, and when she retired at 62, it was actually in her best interest at that point to start with her own benefit first of $1,197 and receive that from age 62 until her full retirement age. And then at that point, she is allowed to switch from her own to the widow benefits. John's benefits maximize. Okay, so widows. Your widow benefit maximizes at your full retirement age. So if she switches, she gets $2,150, and that is more than $77,000 over her lifetime simply for understanding that she has options. Now, if Jane was ready to retire, let's say that she was ready to say, I want to retire, maybe spend some extra time with the grandkids or whatever she has going on. So she goes ahead and retires, and she starts with that widow benefit, because that's all that's available to her at 60, $1,537 a month. She receives that from 60 until she turns 70. Why the switch at 70? Well, remember, Jane has her own benefit, and she can increase it to full retirement age and get those delayed retirement credits until 70. And if she does that, her own benefit turns into $2,108. Over her lifetime, that is more than $100,000 more out of Social Security simply for understanding her options. Now, I'm often struck by these $400,000 or $500,000 numbers because, look, married couples, over $1 million is very common. This isn't even factoring in any inflation. Single people, over $1 million, pretty common. Married couples over $2 million, yeah, we see it a lot. So, look, again, I'm proudly preaching to the choir because you're here, but do the planning. For many of us, this Social Security filing decision may be one of the biggest single financial decisions that we ever make. So take it seriously and get the most out of this that you can. All right, you are allowed to work and earn Social Security simultaneously. You're allowed to work, have earned income, and file for Social Security simultaneously. If you are younger than your full retirement age, you have to deal with what is known as the earnings test. But once you reach your full retirement age, you can work and earn any amount of income, collect Social Security simultaneously, no problem. It's only when you file Social Security before full retirement age that you have to deal with the earnings test. The earnings test works like this. Social Security does not care about the first $19,560 that you earn. They say, fine, earn that. No big deal. We don't care. But the minute you go above $19,560, Social Security starts caring. How much do they care? They care about $1 for every 2 that you earn above the limit. Let's take an example. Let's say you have a salary of $59,560. Seems like an odd number, but the math is easy and you'll see that. So, okay, $59,560. The first $19,560, Social Security doesn't care. Subtract it off. That leaves you with $40,000 above the limit. Social Security cares about $1 for every 2 above the limit. So we're chopping it in half, and that means that you are ineligible to receive $20,000 from Social Security. Let's say that the Social Security benefit that you're filing for is a $2,000 a month benefit. $2,000 goes into $20,000 10 times. So, in that year that you file for Social Security, you will not receive a check in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 10 months. Then you'll receive a $2,000 check in November and a $2,000 check in December. Some people mistakenly assume that when you go over the limit, you'll still get a check all year. It'll just be a reduced amount. Nuh-uh. They simply will not pay you anything until you've paid back what you're ineligible to receive. Good rule of thumb is this. If you're still working full-time and you're younger than your full retirement age, just continue to delay Social Security for the time being. Now, the right side of this almost never applies to anyone, but I'll cover it briefly. In the year that you turn your full retirement age, but before you turn your full retirement age, your earnings test goes to $51,960, and then it's a 1 for 3 calculation. Taxes. Everybody ready? Should I say it louder? Taxes, taxes. Okay. That's for some of you single folks who were going, I'm not widowed, I'm not divorced, so apologize, but here we are. Taxes, very important, extremely important. The issue of taxes is not simple. It is complicated. Why is it complicated? I don't know. Call your senator. But Publication 915 is produced by the IRS every single year to tell you everything that you could possibly want to know about how you'll be paying taxes on your Social Security benefits. The document produced by the IRS that tells you this is 33 pages. Why does it take 33 pages to tell you how to pay taxes on Social Security? Because they made it needlessly complicated. But they did it for your benefit, I'm sure. All right, so this worksheet is one of those pages in that publication. This worksheet is very helpful to me. If you're not so mathematically inclined, it may not be so helpful to you. But it is the worksheet that details out for you the 19-step process that you must go through to determine how much tax you're going to owe on your Social Security benefits. Line 1 is a very important number. You should know what line 1 is. We will not go through all 19 steps, don't worry. But line 1, you need to know what that is. Line 1 is where you would put your provisional income. Provisional income is 3 items. Number 1, all of your adjusted gross income. That's earnings, W-2, 1099, self-employment income, capital gains, long and short, interest income, dividend income, annuity income, pension income, withdrawals from 401k and IRA accounts, rental income. All the sources of income that you have fall into that provisional income number. Second, non-taxable interest. So for those of you who have municipal bonds, why do you have them? Well, because you were hoping to save on some taxes. Yes, unfortunately, they did throw that in there to get some special not treatment, but to tap into, excuse me, that's the right way to say it. The IRS would like to tap into those dollars, so they tied it to Social Security. A little sneaky. Third one, 50% of the Social Security benefits that you receive count towards the number that determines the rest of the calculations about how you'll be paying taxes on Social Security. So provisional income. If you are single and the combination of those three items is above $25,000, you start paying taxes on Social Security. If that number goes above $34,000, you could be paying tax on up to 85% of your benefits. Married couples, if your provisional income number, combination of those three items, goes above $32,000, you start paying taxes on Social Security. If it goes above $44,000, you could be paying tax on up to 85% of your benefits. Here's the question. How much tax? Well, this is where it starts to get complex. Let's say you're cruising through retirement. Everything's going pretty well. You've got some Social Security dollars, maybe you have some pension dollars, or you're taking a little income out of your 401k or IRA, but you know, everything's going pretty well, right? You're cruising along just fine. You know, this year's been a little rough in the markets, but you know, markets overall done okay, and you're doing well, and you're taking your income, and that's great. But, you know, you're starting to go, time's a ticking, you know, I got some bucket list items. You know, COVID made us stay home and all that kind of stuff, and, you know, I got some bucket list items I want to do. So you talk to your spouse or your loved one or your neighbor or, you know, a travel buddy that you have, and you say, hey, you know, I want to go to this place. I want to go check it out. You want to come? They say, great, yeah, let's do it. So you budget things out and you figure out how much you want to spend and start booking hotels and travel arrangements and all that kind of stuff. And when you're done, you look down and you say, okay, looks like it's going to cost $10,000. All right, well, you save money. You did some smart things, right? You put the money into the 401k plans. You got your company matches. You know, you've invested prudently, or at least you hope you have, and things seem to be going well. And you know, all barring, you know, recent events, you know, your accounts are still up, so that's good. And you take a look and you say, well, I guess I'll pull it from my 401k plan. I mean, I saved all that money for me, so the market's not helping me out. I might as well get it out and use it on something that I can enjoy. So call up your 401k plan. You say, hey, I'd like to pull $10,000, please. I booked a vacation and I want to go, and maybe they care, maybe they don't, but it doesn't matter. They say, great, we'll send you $10,000. But then they ask you a very important question. The very important question they ask you is, hey, how much tax would you like to have withheld? Oh, yeah, right, taxes, of course. Well, you know, maybe you know, or you're feeling extra prudent, you go pull a tax return and you say, oh, okay, I'm in the 12% tax bracket. So you get back on the phone. Yes, I'd like to withhold 12%, please. They say, no problem. They send you your money, you go on your trip, everything's great, and then March of next year, you're punching stuff into TurboTax or H&R Block or whatever your favorite program is, or you shipped it all off to the accountant and you get a phone call from the accountant, or your TurboTax is broken. Hey, says I owe money. I never owe money. I always withhold enough tax. I don't understand what happened. Unfortunately, here's what happened. TurboTax is not broken. When you took that $10,000 distribution from your 401k, you were above these limits. You caused, without realizing it, additional dollars from Social Security to become taxable. You didn't get more money from Social Security, you just caused dollars that weren't being taxed to become taxable. So, $10,000 here taxed at 12%, causing $10,000 over here to be taxed at 12%, effective tax rate of 24%. You know, that's no fun. Nobody likes paying extra taxes. You like to get a little refund, actually. So, you know, not fun. So you say, I'm not going to make that mistake again. And maybe, you know, economy turns around, markets start growing again, you see your accounts grow, and you've done a lot of good and prudent things. right? Because you wanted to make sure, number one, that you had enough to enjoy your retirement, but number two, you don't ever want to be a burden to your family as you age and maybe need to take care of yourself with some health care needs later in life. You don't want to be a financial problem to your family, so you did important and good things, like you cut some expenses out, you got your spending down, you paid off the house, you got rid of the car payments, you got rid of that co-signed student loan or whatever it is, right? You went out of your way to reduce some expenses so that you would be in a position to have the dollars to care for yourself over your lifetime. But one day you wake up and it is your 72nd birthday. Happy birthday. I don't know if you're aware of this, but on your 72nd birthday, you generate what is known as a required minimum distribution. Required minimum distributions are required from all IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, TIAAs, TSPs, any type of account that you got a tax deduction when you put dollars in, now has a mandatory required minimum distribution to take dollars out once you reach the age of 72. At 72, you start taking dollars out of those accounts because you have to. You don't have a choice. The larger the account, the larger the mandatory distribution. Imagine for a minute that if that account has grown quite sizably and you have to take out a very large distribution because you've turned 72 and you're above these limits, and now it causes a lot of extra dollars from Social Security to become taxable, and now, whoops, we're not in the 12% tax bracket anymore. It's not 12 and 12 is 24 anymore. It's 22 and 22 is 44. These are the kinds of tax mistakes that unfortunately we see, in fact, some of the most prudent and well-meaning of you beelined right towards. The only way to avoid this stuff is to do pre-planning. You have to take into consideration both the short-term and long-term impact of your retirement planning decisions all the way through. We're going to look at an example here that highlights how the Social Security filing decision that you make can really play into your retirement planning decisions and how it affects things like taxes and how long your money lasts. Consider this example. Married couple, age 64 and 62. Between the two of them, they have $34,000 in Social Security benefits if they both file as early as possible at the age of 62. They're going to start their retirement with $752,000 that they have saved in their 401k and IRA assets. They'll earn 6% per year on average on those investments, and they will need to spend $70,000, increasing by 3% per year to keep up with inflation. And last one, they'll live to 86 and 89 respectively. There are three groups of you that are hearing this example. The first group of you are saying, yeah, pretty close, tweak this number, but yeah, not too far off. Looks good. Okay, obviously, stick with me. This will be a very meaningful example to you. There's another group of you, though, that's saying, $752,000? What happened? Didn't they have any kids? So look, if you're feeling like that, you're going, wow, they saved a lot, good for them, then I need you to pay attention, because this couple with $752,000 has a running out of money problem. We're going to show you how a change in their Social Security filing strategy can help them fix it. Third group of you is saying, yeah, I knew it. I knew you were going to say they're going to run out of money, Kyle. They didn't save enough. No. They got to keep working. They got to keep putting some money in. This is not going to work. I knew you were going to say that, Kyle. So look, if you're in that group where you're saying, nope, they didn't save enough, I need you to pay attention, because This couple with only $752,000 has a tax problem, and there again, we're just going to use a change in their Social Security filing strategy to make a very big difference for them. If this couple does in fact both file Social Security early, you'll notice here that the blue lines is the amount that they're taking from their Social Security benefits. Those Social Security benefits are covering in these early years about half of their total income need. Their income need is the red line that slopes across the screen, going up to increase with inflation. The amount of the orange lines above the blue lines is the amount that they need to pull from their investment accounts to keep up with inflation and their income target. The amount of the orange lines above the red line is the amount that they are paying in taxes. Few things you should be noticing correctly. Number one, Social Security doesn't keep up with real inflation. Unfortunately, that's probably correct. Historically, the CPI-W index trails the CPI-U index. The CPI-U index is how you typically spend money. The CPI-W index is how Social Security increases. Okay, so very important to remember that Social Security, while it does have a COLA adjustment, a cost of living increase, it doesn't typically keep up with real inflation. Okay, so what that causes is these withdrawals to have to be more and more and more to fund the gap over time. That extra withdrawal, that more and more and more that has to be taken out to keep up with inflation, causes the orange lines above the red line to not increase linearly, but to increase exponentially. Okay, that's because of that double taxation process that I described just a moment ago. Unfortunately, all that portfolio pressure and excess taxes that are being paid causes this couple to run out of money 14 years too soon. This couple and many of you would probably benefit greatly from some advanced tax planning strategies. Restructuring of investment accounts, generating different types of income, more tax advantageous income, all that's great. Doing things like Roth conversions to get those IRA and 401k balances down so that you don't have these big RMDs, probably applicable for many of you. However, we are not applying any of those types of strategies to the difference between this slide and the next slide. The reason why we're not applying any of that stuff is because we really need you to grab a hold of. If you leave with nothing else from today's presentation, I hope you grab a hold of the fact that Social Security, this decision you're about to make about Social Security, is as much a tax planning decision as it is a hypothetical guess as to how long you may or may not live. Okay? If this couple implements a delayed Social Security filing strategy, in the early years, they have to fund all of their income from their investments. So you'll see that, right? All of these orange lines covering all of their income need. But once they trigger those delayed Social Security benefits, covers so much more of their total income need. Okay, almost more than 75% of it. And I don't know if you can see this, there's a little bit of orange line above the red, but not much. It is not uncommon when we do pre-planning for folks to get them into a position where they're paying very little and sometimes even no taxes once they file their Social Security benefits. What you should also notice is we take all of that pressure off of their portfolio, and then their portfolio lasts 14 more years. Gets them all the way through to through to the end of retirement. That's a big deal, especially right now. I know because we've been doing this through this market craziness over the last couple of months that there's probably a lot of you that are very concerned about, how is this latest market volatility? How is this stuff going to affect my retirement? Well, it'd be best if you built a plan that didn't rely so much on the uncertainties of the market to get you through your retirement years. So one strategy one thing that can help you with that is taking very seriously this Social Security filing decision and making sure that it gives you a nice boost and a bolstering to your retirement planning needs. This couple saves a lot of money on taxes by using that optimized Social Security strategy. They do pay a little bit more in taxes in the early years. That's these blue lines, okay? But what you'll notice is all the orange lines above the blue lines here are the excess taxes that are being paid simply for filing Social Security early. Now, eventually the orange lines go away, but they're broke, so it's not a good deal. All right, if this couple uses an optimized Social Security strategy, they get $186,000 more out of Social Security over their lifetime. Their portfolio lasts 14 more years, and they're able to save about $35,000 in taxes, even though they were actually not paying any taxes because they were broke for those 14 years on the early strategy. So win across the board. A couple of quick things about your Social Security statement. Number one, there are no cost of living adjustments, future casting on cost of living on your statement, right? It's just a snapshot of today's benefits in today's dollars. Okay, it does assume that you work all the way to 62, retire and file immediately. Or you work all the way until full retirement age, retire and file immediately. Or you work all the way until 70 and retire and file immediately. Okay. What's not on your statement is, well, what if I want to work till 65, retire, maybe take Medicare, but, I get the idea of maybe doing some delaying, and so I'll delay till 70. That's not on your statement, okay? So just be aware that there could be some discrepancies there. Okay, it's your work record only. No special, no spousal coordination, no widow benefit coordination, certainly no divorced spouse benefit coordination, and then certainly and obviously no advice. So look, after hearing our presentation today, you may or may not feel that you could use a more individualized assessment, a more specific look at your particular benefits and how those benefits might be best coordinated with your other retirement planning needs and other retirement income sources. If you're feeling that way, we're going to make available to you our Social Security filing strategy analysis. Okay, this analysis is something that we've had thousands of folks take advantage of. We'd love for you to feel good about taking advantage of it too, if that's something that you think could be helpful to you. But if you're not sure, let me tell you a little bit about what's inside it. Before I do that, let me just tell you why we do this, okay? Because I don't want there to be any confusion or any suspicion, okay? We're going to be very transparent about why we provide a free Social Security analysis. The reason why we do this is because we believe that when you see the quality of our analysis, there is a very good chance that we may earn the privilege, or maybe I should say the honor, of being able to serve you with other retirement planning or investing needs that you may have. This analysis is not free to us, okay? It's free to you. So we're happy to do it because, we kind of look at it like a sample. When you go to the grocery store, Costco on the weekends, and you're wandering through and there's crowds and you're wondering why you're there. But, on the weekends, typically they at least have samples. So, that's good. It's good for me and my family with 3 small kids. They need a snack when we go to Costco after church. So, which is common. So in any case, the point is that why does Costco give out samples? Well, the Costco sample that I will probably never forget is the grass-fed beef bratwurst that they have. And the reason why I will probably never forget it is because when I had it, I said, wow, that's pretty good. I wasn't thinking about getting it, and now it is a staple in our household. So the point is that Costco, when they give out a sample, they're hoping that you'll try something and you'll find something that maybe you weren't otherwise going to buy, and you'll make a purchase. That's how we feel. Our hope is that you sample our work, the quality of the work that we provide to our clients, you'll see the value, and you'll say, wow, maybe there's some additional value that these folks can provide to me. Okay? All right, what's in this analysis? Personalized strategies specifically to you. Line by line recommendations, looking at multiple recommendations. This is just one, but every client is going to have multiple recommendations that would make sense for them based upon their specific circumstances, but detailing out, here's how you file, exactly when, here's what you should do, here's the timing. Also, looking at a break-even analysis. If I file one way, how does that work out? If I file another way, is it better? Is it ever better? Is there a point where there's a break-even? Maybe not. Maybe there is, but it's when you're 90. I mean, that's what this analysis does, is it really gives you just a breakdown very clearly where you can see, here's how it goes, here's exactly what you can expect. If you do get this analysis, I feel very confident to tell you that the thing that will impress you the most is our retirement income, cash flow, and tax analysis portion. This is a screen capture from a software tool that we constructed. It's called Retirement Defender. Retirement Defender is the Retirement Defender is our retirement planning process that covers the key and critical areas that retirees face and builds plans to help them solve those concerns. We named our software tool that helps us do very specific income, cash flow, and tax planning. I would have very happily subscribed to someone else's software, but unfortunately, most software tools do a horrible job with calculating taxes for retirement income. So we built this software tool to do specific planning. Specific planning because you have to. You have to do, if you're going to do planning, it has to be specific because the IRS doesn't mess around, and so neither can we. When we're doing Roth conversions, we get down to the penny, right? We're not doing a $40,000 Roth conversion or a $50,000 Roth conversion. We're doing a $42,350 Roth conversion. It's not uncommon for us to see pennies there. So the point is that specified pinpoint accuracy is critical when you're doing this kind of planning, and this tool allows us to do that. Also, it helps us evaluate. Okay, that couple was able to eventually save some significant taxes by doing those Roth conversions. But what about how it affects their assets? Well, by doing Roth conversions, they got an extra $100,000 that they were able to leave to their beneficiaries, which was important to them. And they were able to generate as much as $700,000 tax-free by doing those Roth conversions. And so it makes a very big difference when you start getting into the granular level of planning, and that's the level of planning that we do with and for our clients, okay? So again, how will yours look? Just depends on your specifics, okay? But we'll build it out for you, and we'll do that, okay? In order to request that analysis, you're going to go to the same website that you go to request your workbook. At sendworkbook.com, you can request your workbook, Social Security filing workbook, and also, if it will be beneficial to you, we invite you to take advantage of our Social Security analysis, also complimentary, no cost to you. Few things that we promise to you. Number one, all of the advisors that you would work with to get your analysis will be licensed fiduciaries, okay, fully licensed to give advice, to provide coordinated advice with Social Security and your other assets and retirement income sources, and they'll be fiduciaries, which is a requirement by law to put your interest ahead of theirs. Secondly, they will be National Social Security Advisor certified. Again, I mentioned earlier, we do not let any team member work with our clients who is not National Social Security Advisor certified. Social Security law is more than 2,600 pages. You cannot accidentally become an expert in it. Thirdly, all of these advisors are trained personally by me. I hope you find that to be a good thing. Based on today's presentation, hopefully I've given you some good value that would enhance to you that that's a positive. Okay, fourth, regardless of your location, it doesn't matter where you're coming to us from. If you're in Oregon, I saw someone mention earlier, we have clients in Hawaii, Alaska, Maine, Florida, all four corners and everywhere in between, okay? Doesn't matter what state you are in, we are able to provide this analysis to you, okay? So we invite you to take advantage of it. We'd love to work with you. On this analysis, we will be on video conference. You will see us. If you want to be on video, that's fine. If you don't want to be on video, that's fine too. We won't be offended. The most common response I hear when I meet with someone for the first time and they are not on camera is, I didn't do my hair. So if you don't want to do your hair, we will not be offended. But our team member will be on camera. You'll get to see us face to face and interact with us personally. We've gotten great feedback from folks. We've been doing this now for a couple of years, a little more than 2 years. And we've gotten great feedback. I know you'll have a good experience, okay? One other point of clarification. My firm is City Center Financial. At one time, City Center Financial was separate and apart from Einstein Retirement Workshops. Today, City Center Financial, we acquired the Einstein Retirement Workshops brand. We own and operate that brand, okay? So City Center Financial owns and operates the Einstein Retirement Workshops brand. That brand is an educational brand. It's how you're seeing this workshop. It's how we deliver good quality content. But if you do engage with us beyond this, this workshop here today, you are engaging with our team through City Center Financial, okay? Again, licensed advisory firm, and we can work with folks all around the country. Last and most common question, and then we'll start actually taking questions. You do want to go to sendworkbook.com to request the workbook as well as the analysis. If in that process, when you're answering questions, you get to questions about do you need to coordinate with taxes and overall income and cash flow, you need to say yes to that stuff if you want to get that enhanced part of the analysis which incorporates the retirement income and cash flow portion. In addition to that, once you've said yes to those items, if you want us to get very serious with you about your retirement planning needs, you also will want to take advantage of the free, complimentary, also no cost, Retirement Defender Screening Report. That Retirement Defender Screening Report tells us that you're trying to figure out your retirement planning needs. We need to take things very seriously with you, and we need to look at not just Social Security, not just Social Security and tax ramifications, but also how does that fit into the overall picture and all of your retirement planning goals. If you want us to do that, make sure that you request that Retirement Defender Screening Report, and we'll make sure that you're meeting with somebody who is one of our top level, highly qualified retirement planning specialists. Okay? All right. I'll start taking questions here. All right, hello everyone. Thank you for watching our previously recorded event. We do really appreciate you taking the time to do that. And I'll start answering questions here in just a minute. But as a reminder, you want to go to sendworkbook.com. It should be pinned whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. So we invite you to, again, go to sendworkbook.com, record analysis, and get that going. We want to make sure that we get you the workbook, request the analysis if that's something that you think will be advantageous to you. But I'll start taking questions now. So if you haven't already, put your question in. In the meantime, while I'm answering questions, if you want to open a new browser tab, new window, if you're watching this on your phone or tablet, you want to do vice versa to go to sendworkbook.com and get signed up for your workbook, that would be great. But in any case, I'll start taking questions now. First question up is Lori from, my tech team says something is very wrong. So I don't know what is very wrong. Let me make sure I figure out what is very wrong. It's a super bad connection. Anyone else experiencing that super bad connection, or are we good? I'm going to give it a try here. Lori was 62 and divorced. She is asking, can I start collecting from my ex's Social Security if he has not yet filed from his? So long as you've been divorced for at least 2 years, Lori, you absolutely can. All right, some people are saying it's okay. Some people are saying I'm frozen. If you want to give me some feedback as we cruise along, that would be great. But I think some people are okay. If you have any issues at all, just hit refresh. Deborah says, I'm 60 and just retired with 25 years of service as a teacher. I contributed to Social Security for 20 years prior to teaching. I know I'll get part of my Social Security. Should I wait until 66 or start collecting at 62? It really depends on some of the other specifics about your planning needs. I would say that generally, Deborah, you want to consider taxes, what this would do to your overall portfolio requirements if you delay taking Social Security. These are some of the questions at play, and so you just need to get them answered. Okay. Just checking here. So some of you can hear me, but I'm frozen. All right, well, we're going to try something real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, we'll see if that's any good. Anyone on Facebook having this issue, or is it all on YouTube where the frozenness is happening? Okay. Sylvia Netto says, unfortunately, I missed the first part of the presentation. You want to watch it with your husband. So this video should be available for about 12 hours. So you have 12 hours to come back to this and restart the video and go through it from the beginning. So that should be fine, Sylvia. Otherwise, join us again next week. Sue says, I took widow benefits at 50 and didn't make enough to live off of my 21 years of employment. Husband worked at least 33 years. Can I get a spouse Social Security? Am now 67. If anything, if you took widow benefits, your ONA benefit would be available now, and if it's higher, you could switch, Sue. Or if you delay till 70, that might also give you an increase. Everyone's still experiencing the issues, or is it a little better? Okay, looks like maybe people are better. Okay, Jan says, I filed for benefits at 70, 1.5 years ago. Can I still analyze my personal spousal situation? Yes, Jan, especially from a tax planning perspective. Richard asks, my spouse started collecting $812 next month. I will start collecting $2,008 at 62 in 2024. Can she collect half of mine in 2024 instead of her 812? Would she get 1,004? The answer is it'd probably be closer to 980 something, but essentially, yes, Richard, she should get a bump up when you file. Kathy asks, what is my full retirement age if I was born in 1956? Oh, great. Now you're quizzing me. I think it's 66 and 4 months, but I'm not 100% sure, Kathy. But it's either 66 and 2 months, 4 months, or 6 months. Lisa Nicholson asks, if I collect early on my Social Security and I become disabled later on, what are my options? Potentially, you could file for Social Security disability and get your full retirement age benefit. But if you've already hit full retirement age once you're disabled, then the answer is no. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Frozen. Good. Okay. Seems better. Okay. How much can you convert to a Roth in a year? As much IRA dollars as you have. But there's obviously tax ramifications for that. So generally speaking, there's some moderate amount of Roth conversions that you want to consider doing and spreading it out over a number of years. Terry asks, can you already help me if I'm collecting Social Security? Terry, that would probably be help in terms of tax planning, coordinating your Social Security benefits you're receiving with other sources of retirement income, especially from a tax planning perspective. Okay, Deborah. Oh, good. That's working good. All right. Oh, yeah, 66 and 4 months. That was right. Wonderful. Thank you for confirming, Angela. Bill Crawford, can I get a recording of this webinar? No, but you can watch it again for about 12 hours, and then we do it every week. Good here in Texas on Facebook. Great. All right. All right. Denise asks, if you are divorced and never remarried, and your ex-husband passes away, can you draw as a widow? Yes. The answer is yes. Joyce asks, my children's father, ex-husband, has passed away. Can I collect survivor benefits? We were married 4 years. I know you're not. You'd have to have been married for 10 years. Sorry. Okay. Angela would like a job. Angela, just contact our office. You're being very helpful. We'll talk about a job for you. I'm joking a little bit. All right, Smithy Jones. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, we're not in sync. I've been widowed for 19 years and have not remarried. Can I collect widow benefits from my second husband? Is that the one where you were married 19 years? If so, then I don't see why not. Jane asks, I'm divorced. Can I get my benefit and my ex's? We were married 17 years. Yes, if your ex's benefit, 50% of it is more than yours, you can get that. Pamela Ledsinger, if drawing disability now, will be able to get my Social Security at 62, and I will be able to get divorce benefits. Well, disability will give you your full retirement age early, but if the widow benefits the divorce benefits are more than your own, Pamela, then yes, you could get that higher amount instead. Laura McNair asks, I'm now on disability. I'm 64 and will be 65 in May of next year. It's my understanding that disability ends at 65 and Social Security automatically kicks in. If I'm not eligible for Social Security until I'm 66, will I be without income for a year? No. So you just have a misunderstanding. At 66, you switch from disability to regular retirement benefits, not at 65. Ravindir, phone number. Oh, I forgot. My tech team will type it in for me. It's 888 something. I'll give our phone number again in just a second. Our home office is in the state of Michigan, although we have clients all over the country. And it doesn't matter what state you're in, we're able to assist you. Okay. In just a minute, once my tech team types the phone number in, which I do not memorize, I will tell you what it is. All right, what's the difference between disability and Social Security? Disability benefits are your full retirement age benefit early. Social Security has to follow all the rules that we talked about in the workshop today. I'm 60 and applying for disability. If I get it and also get my Social Security at full retirement age, can I also get this? It's not a combination. You'll get a letter saying, hey, we switched you from disability to full retirement age benefits, and nothing changes. Okay, Kurt said. Colleen asks, does my pension and Social Security benefit together go over $25,500 a year. I don't know. Okay. Sorry, not an 800 number. Our phone number, main line, 248-275-5903. 248-275-5903 is our main phone number. I have to pay taxes on what over the $25,500. No, I think you're misunderstanding. I'm not exactly sure what you're getting at. You start paying taxes on the Social Security benefits once you go above the limits for the provisional income, but it's not the amount that you go over. It's you just start paying once you go over. Okay, the calculation's fairly complex after that, Colin. Joyce says, did you say someone can collect on an ex-husband if he hasn't begun collecting? Yeah, so long as you've been divorced for at least 2 years, Joyce. Angela, to get the workbook, you do want to go to sendworkbook.com. It should be a pinned message to YouTube and Facebook. You should be able to click right on the link. That is https://sendworkbook.com. And that will take you to be able to request the workbook and the analysis, and also that retirement defender screening report if you do think that will be helpful to you. Joyce asks, how does collecting from an ex affect my Social Security benefits? Can I collect off of him and wait until 70 to collect my Social Security? Not for ex-spousal benefits. That would only apply for widow benefits. So when you file, Joyce, it's called deemed filing. You are filing automatically for the higher of the two benefits, whether that's yours or the ex benefits. Okay, looks like that's all the questions we have for today. So if you haven't already, you do want to go to sendworkbook.com. Sendworkbook.com is the website you go to request your analysis. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. We'd love to interact with you at future events, and we would enjoy that. So you do want to subscribe to those. We do other workshops and events, and we'd love to see you at those as well. Again, if you would like to receive the free workbook, you do want to go to sendworkbook.com. If you're looking for the analysis, you can request it there. And then also the Retirement Defender Screening Report is available to you through that same website. Just answer the questions as you cruise along. With that, I'll say goodbye for this evening, and I wish you all a wonderful night.